All right, let's see if we have everything we need ready to go. Make sure everything is working properly. This is probably going to be a little bit of a glitchy stream, just because we're still getting everything worked out. But hopefully I've kind of dialed in our settings a little bit enough to be able to make it enjoyable, even if we have some craziness. Okay. So we have Tiffany Foster up on the screen. That's where we are going to start. All right, and I think our sound is good. Thank you for the sound check. I appreciate that very much. I'm going to take these headphones and put them down on the desk so we don't keep thinking we're going to hear something through them. The screen is blurry. Okay, thank you. Let me know of any issues that you see as we go through everything tonight so I can make notes here and make some adjustments. Okay. So it's Missing Monday, and we're going to highlight two missing cases tonight. One being Tiffany Foster, and Tiffany Foster also goes by Tiffany Foster Starks. So just a little note to make. I also need to update that. In the beginning, she wasn't using that, or people weren't using that for the case, but it became a little bit more well known that she would use that name. So just in case, it's just always good to have as much information out there as possible. So for people who do not know, a lot of people have heard of Tiffany Foster and the fact that she is missing from Noonan, Georgia. But for those who haven't, Tiffany was a mom and a student, actually criminal justice student. And she disappeared from her home when, allegedly, in the beginning, her fiance reported that she went to the store and just never came home. Many people did not buy that line of questioning. And when he appeared for a press conference, it only got worse because the look on his face, complete deer in the headlights at that press conference. And he definitely looked like there was a lot more to say about the whole situation. So, just one moment. Let's see if our mic is doing what it's supposed to here. Sorry, like I said, this will be a little bit of a glitchy stream. We'll be able to kind of edit some of this out in the official video. Just a second. Okay, I think that worked out. We're just going to be testing out some of our settings tonight while we do this and working with things as we go. So I appreciate the patience. I do have the chat up, so if anybody does have any questions about what we're talking about or any feedback, feel free to leave it in the chat. And the way that we're going to run this, hang on just a second. Okay, so the way that we're going to run this, we'll have a live where we go over updates, news, missing persons cases, different things that we have going on our website. We have a crime news feed that will now keep updated. So we're basically going to do a breakdown of these things after our live. Every time we have a live, which will normally be during the day, late morning. And once we break down those clips, we'll put them out on social media from our live feed so that even if you do not enjoy the live feed, you can still catch some of our content if you like if you'd like to do that. We don't really care if you like, you subscribe, or whatever. We just hope that you enjoy what we're putting out and that you share the stories um, that we're talking about. We do try to share a lot of stories that are lesser known, that need the exposure. So our next Monday we'll be covering Paula and Brandon Wade, who are also missing from Georgia, and another case. But so let's get back to this tonight. So Tiffany Foster, she, like I said, she allegedly had just went to the store and didn't return, but everybody knew that just wasn't the case. Tiffany Foster has children. She's very active with her children. Um, she's just a very present mother, student, employee. People knew it was odd when she didn't show up for work, didn't show up for school, did not return from this alleged grocery shopping trip or just shopping trip. So, Reginald Robertson has been charged with Tiffany's murder. It took some time to get there, quite a bit of time. Reginald sat in jail for a long time he was charged with charges related to Tiffany, but not related to her disappearance. So it's taken a lot of time. She disappeared in 2021. We're now in 2024. And just at the end of last year, he was charged with her murder. They have enough evidence, they believe, to bring to court and show that she, in fact, did not just go on a shopping trip and not come home. Hang on just a moment. I'm trying to get my pup here to cooperate. Okay. Hopefully, hopefully we can get a cooperative pup here. I think my dog may need Ritalin. Never had a dog before that needed Ritalin. Don't know what you do about that kind of thing or how much it costs. Uh, anyways, calm down there. Okay. So, again, Reginald Robertson has been charged with her murder, but not just that. He's been charged with a variety of things, including kidnapping, fraud. Sorry, my dog is down here coughing. Fraud. He has been charged with a multitude of things, concealing her death. We can go over all of that, and I likely will in just a moment. I need to see which court document I have up here. I believe I have another court document I want to cover tonight. So, like I said, this will be more dialed in, streamlined pretty soon. Tonight is just about starting, getting it out there, and making sure that we have all the kinks worked out in the stream. So let's move forward, and then we'll go on to the next thing. I think that maybe it would be good to go ahead and read a little bit of Reginald Robertson's. Hey, will you guys behave yourself? His basically his affidavit showing what his charges are, and kind of an idea of what they plan to bring to court. Now, Reginald has been sitting, like I said, in jail already for quite some time. They kind of just combined the old charges with the new charges, just combined everything together. He now is awaiting trial. He originally motioned for a non-jury trial, or sorry, for a jury trial, and then he changed that to non-jury trial. The most recent documentation reflects a non-jury trial in his case. He is known to change things. He is known to write into the court on his own pro se, even though he does have legal counsel. So I don't know, what we want to make of that. I guess all I'm saying is there can definitely be some changes before he ever gets to trial. Now in Georgia, trials are way behind. All court proceedings in Georgia are way behind. They have been ever since before COVID, even though COVID seems to be the current scapegoat. So keep this dog under wraps over here. Sorry, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to find like Sesame Street for dogs or something when I'm streaming because she's a little wild. I think she might be half hyena. I don't know if that's very common in the United States, but I do believe she might be half hyena. So, no, she's she is currently being quite bossy with my other pup, and he just does not appreciate that. Okay, we really have to we'll have to work on things a little bit here and get our groove, right, pups? Okay. So anyhow, trials, court proceedings, all of it are way behind in Georgia, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. And we need to do our best to stay on top of a lot of the cases that are out there right now because you know, when you have the courts that are behind because of their own logistics and resources, it creates so many problems. Typically, you have a lot of lawyers, a lot of defense attorneys especially, will motion for continuances. They want time to pass, especially when cases are pretty brutal, when there's loss of life, especially and especially when it's done in a heinous way. They kind of want to wait. That's why Brian Koberger's attorneys wanted to motion for people who are familiar with that case. I'm not going to go into a 5-minute breakdown of the Brian Koberger case. For people who are familiar with that case, that's why they don't want it to go right away. You know, people's memories do fade a little bit. They become a little murky, and then you have to rely on just what was said there at the scene at the time, or maybe during initial interviews with police or various law enforcement officials. So, yeah, they like for time to pass. They like for things to not go to trial right away. That being said, now we have just a natural outcome of that happening. It really falls into the defense's favor. Luckily, I don't think too many people in Noonan, Georgia are going to be forgetting about Tiffany Foster anytime soon. I encourage people to go and be at the court to attend her trial. Anyone who can. It's, courts are open, and I really encourage anybody who's local and thinks that they can, if you have the time with work and everything else to go and view the trial, support this mom. Let me tell you a little bit more about her. So Tiffany, like I said, she's a mom and a student and an employee. She was kind of doing the holding it all down thing, as a lot of women do. She did not show up for work, and she subsequently also didn't show up for school. And by March the 2nd, she was reported missing. Now, it's noteworthy that she was not reported missing the night that she allegedly did not return from shopping. She was reported on March 2nd after the community started to realize that Tiffany was gone and no one could find her. So she didn't show up for work or school. She couldn't be reached by family or friends. Her car was found a week after she seemingly vanished. Even though I hate that word, I hate disappeared, I hate vanished, I hate the word true crime. That's a lot of hate, but I really despise those words because no one just vanishes, no one just disappears. And, crime is crime, and it's tragic, and it's unfortunate that these things happen and that evil comes out of people in the ways that it does. I hate to call it true crime. It's very, I don't know, it's very cult-like in a way for me. I don't really care for it, so we don't use that a lot. But anyhow, so shortly after Tiffany's disappearance, the Coweta County authorities, searching for her whereabouts, they held a press conference. I mentioned that at the beginning of this podcast. They started a press conference, it was kind of like a weird little impromptu thing where the fiance was there and he was asked to speak, and he did, and it was super weird and freaky, and there was just no way to view that and not think he had something to do with it. Now, I will say another person too has also been implicated and charged with concealing her death and essentially helping Reginald Robertson hide everything. So, let me go back to this is our article on our website just so that everybody knows. So authorities would soon piece together by late summer of 2021 enough evidence to charge Reginald Robertson with crimes related to Tiffany, but not her disappearance. The charges gave insight to what Tiffany might be enduring or might have been enduring at the time, including aggravated assault, kidnapping that happened prior to her disappearance. Tiffany's family continued to search, the community continued to help, and for the following 2 years, their lives were kind of put on hold. You know, Tiffany has kids, or she has kids who I'm sure have been hoping for, or were hoping for quite some time that she would be coming home, that she would be found. It was unlike her to just, like I said, just vanish, which nobody just vanishes. There's always an answer. It's just a matter if we can find it. So it was unclear if Tiffany was alive somewhere, and her children, along with Tiffany's family, they didn't give up. They kept searching for her. For 2 years, the publicly known facts. Oh, I am so sorry. That was probably super loud. Hey, sir. No, we're not going to do that right now. The publicly known facts included a slew of violent charges against Reginald Robertson and one glaring charge of theft for moving Tiffany's vehicle. After her disappearance from Noonan, Georgia, he moved it over to College Park in Georgia, which isn't super far from Noonan. So in 2023, all charges against Reginald Robertson were dropped. They were actually, the two cases were just kind of mended, but are blended together. But anyways, a new case began for him to bring. Excuse me. No. These pups are absolutely wild. I'm sure everybody can hear you, okay? Okay. So by August of 2023, the prosecutor announced renewed charges, and Reginald Robertson entered a not guilty plea at his initial appearance. After the new case was filed, basically. In the dropped case against Reginald, a motion filed for a change of venue, and I found this interesting. In it, Reginald's own writing, he, like I said, he sometimes files motions without the guidance of his legal counsel. In it, he asks for a change of venue, and the reasons he wants this change of venue are quite interesting. I have all of that on our Patreon account. I have to look and see if I can't remember if Tiffany Foster is a free document. We post some things free, some things not, depending on how much we've got to pay for them. The Patreon is just to kind of help us recoup some of those costs. So in 2023, like I said, the new case was brought against him, and he also now had a co-defendant, Jeremy Walker Sr., who is accused of assisting Robertson with the murder by concealing Tiffany's death. Walker is also charged with theft in relation to the crime against Tiffany. So like I said, the system's very backlogged in Georgia. It's very difficult, and that's unfortunate. So there's no telling when we're actually going to see Reginald Robertson and Jeremy Walker in front of a judge or a jury, depending on what he officially decides to go with. It's too early to say that he won't motion to make a change in his case of some kind. So he's a little topsy-turvy with all of that. So, yeah. And We have the indictment. You know what? Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go over that indictment. I think we'll come back and we'll do just an episode for Tiffany and go over all of the documents in the case. And there we'll also go over the indictment. But if you want it, we do have it over on Patreon. Just on Patreon, you can look us up, the morning feed. And the morning feed was not supposed to be the morning feed, probably in the way that people think the name implies. So it's a little bit weird, but we were on a time crunch and we went with it. Okay, so we also have another missing Monday case that I would like to bring up because unfortunately it's not really gotten a lot of I cannot believe I just had that on mute for the longest time. Okay, so we just didn't record any of the stuff that we just talked about. I don't know how long I was on mute. I think it's been a long time though. We're going to keep going. This is a test stream anyways, so we're going to just keep going. For everybody who did not hear all the things that I just said, James Yablonsky is the other missing persons case that we're highlighting today. That is his photo on the screen. James has been missing for quite some time. He's been missing since June the 12th, I believe it was, of last year. And no one has seen him anywhere. A lot of concerning information and details in his case. And by the way, thank you for letting me know that nobody could hear me. A lot of details and information in his case have been very disturbing. Things that he was looking up. Authorities have no proof that he went to any of the places he was looking up or any of the things that, he was checking out online. But it's very concerning. It's disturbing, and there's just a lot of weird details in his case, and he has still not been found. So if you are near the areas that they've mentioned in Wisconsin for his case, I would suggest keeping your eyes out, especially in rural locations. He talked about wanting to go off the grid, and we don't know where that may have led him or who he may have been getting help from or anything like that. So we want to make sure that we keep our eyes out for him. Remember that face. He does have he does have a little bit of a unique face to keep and watch for. Okay, and we're just gonna keep rolling because this is just kind of our test stream. Okay, so I think that there is something happening that keeps muting my mic, and I need to figure out what that is. Okay, so I don't know why that keeps happening, but I will keep an eye on this and figure out why we are automatically muting for some reason, because I'm actually not hitting anything when it does that, but it's definitely muting it. Okay, so oh, I know what did it actually. Okay, I will fix that. Ha! Like I said, this is a test stream. This is only a test. Okay. So the CMC bag, Adam Montgomery, Harmony Montgomery. A lot of people know these names. Adam Montgomery was recently finally in court. He did not appear for his entire trial where he was convicted. He was convicted of murdering his daughter, Harmony Montgomery. A lot of people are well aware of this case, especially now given that there was a trial and everything else. A lot of people were well aware prior. There is, based off of the information at trial, it has been, the details have been publicly aired out that Harmony Montgomery was at one time in what they referred to as a CMC bag. It is a hospital bag. It looks like the photo on the screen, albeit the photo may be blurry. I'm told that our screen looks blurry right now. I'll fix that. Anyhow, she may or may not still be in this, wherever she was put, likely around the areas that they have given. A lot of people locally already know about this. They already have search teams and plans. I just want to bring this up as a reminder. Keep in mind, she may not be in this bag. A lot of people seem to be thinking that she will, that, that of course, a damaged, dirty version of the bag because of the weather and the elements that it may be in. Oh, it's not blurry anymore. Wonderful. I don't know what happened, but I'm glad it did. So this bag, if it's, a lot of people are just thinking that it's been out in the elements and perhaps, it's not going to look like this white and blue bag that we're seeing where you can clearly see the logo. However, I just like to add, you may not run across that bag at all. She may not have been disposed of, let's say, in that bag. Wherever Adam Montgomery left that child, he may, knowing that Kayla knew that he had this CMC bag involved with storing her remains. These are horrific things to talk about in detail wise, and I hate to be doing this, but I just want to keep in mind for all of the searchers locally who are joining search teams or just keeping their eye out as they're hiking or out doing things this spring and summer in the area. Keep in mind, could be a random bag, could be a trash bag, could be any kind of bag, could be any kind of container. Um, Something tells me that it will not be super readily available to the surface, but I could be wrong. Um, so, yes, as far as just laying out on the ground where it's clearly visible. So, anyhow, that is the CMC bag. But I hope that everybody will keep in mind that she could have been left in anything. Um, Adam Montgomery was very displeased to be in court. He did not show up for his entire trial, in which he previously had said that he was eager to refute the charges. So anyhow, that's that. Harmony Montgomery is still missing, and I hope that she can be found, if for nothing else, so that her brother will have somewhere to go, because he remembers her and he misses her. And out of everybody in this case, that is one of the people who deserves to go and be able to see her. I have no ill feelings towards Crystal Sorey. I mean, she admits herself that she was not the mother that she should have been at the time, and she admits to her own drug use becoming a problem with interfering with Harmony's life. Like, she admits all those things. I have no harm against her. But as far as somebody who is really blameless in this whole situation, all of those kids are, including Kayla's. So I hope that people keep that in mind. I hope that these children do not have too difficult of a time going forward. I'm sure that they all are going to have some difficult obstacles already. So hopefully they have good community, good people around them to help them through that and figure all of that out. Kayla Montgomery stated in her parole hearing that she has made no attempt to speak to her children, even though she uses that as kind of like an excuse of her victimization. I've lost my children because of Adam Montgomery. Yet she has made no attempt from prison to reconcile, even though she knows she's not staying in prison. She was already supposed to be released. She has not been released yet, which means she likely has not kept up with what is required of her. So there's that too. So we will move on. This page here, I just wanted to show everybody really quick. This is our court and crime page. You can find it by going to themorningfeed.com. And then if you click over here on the news feed, you will see the morning feed news. That's where we'll have exclusive articles. This website is just a baby right now. And so rather than waiting to start our podcast, I decided to just get it rolling and let everybody kind of grow with us. We have the crime and court page, and then we have news archives over here too. Under the news archives, every month, this crime and court feed will get archived, and it goes over here into the news archives. And then this once a month, hopefully the first of every month, will completely refresh. And then as we go throughout the month, we add articles here so that people can kind of keep up to date with things. I know it's hard to keep up with everything. People all share different things. So we just have a different variety of news here, from trial news to recent arrests or ongoing cases, new cases, missing persons, just a variety of stuff, lawsuits, exploitation cases, updates, and all of that. So we just put a variety here. And on our lives, we will be going over some of those news articles when we go live. Now, one other thing that I wanted to quickly talk about is there's just an onslaught anymore, again, I'll say, of crimes that have a religious tone to them in some way or another. I think for a lot of people, they were exposed to this through Lori Vallow, Susan Smith, various people throughout the years, and it's becoming big again. So I'm going to be covering some stuff over on Elusive Enigma, another podcast that I'll be doing in order to talk more about these crimes that are have a religious tone. Now, a lot of times the religious aspect is just becomes an excuse to do this or that. You know, God told me to do this or whatever. I will say, while we're on the topic, the Chad Daybell case, I think, is going very well. A lot of people were initially complaining that the prosecution was really just going very slow. This is their style, though. This is what they do. They're letting the evidence accumulate. They're going to probably finish not with a bombshell per se, but they're going to let it be significant enough when they finish, and they'll let it all compiled together to kind of make this mountain, like they did with the Lori Vallow case. Now, with the Chad Daybell case, there's been a real defense. Lori did not want to point the finger at Chad Daybell. Chad Daybell does not mind at all to point the finger at Lori Vallow, though. So it's been a very different trial, a very different defense, and then on top of that, you have one lawyer who is just being an absolute bulldog for Chad Daybell, but he's alone. And while there is nothing about John Pryor that I enjoy, respect, or appreciate because of the way he has chosen to defend is absolutely disrespectful in many ways to the victims. You can be a bulldog for your client without completely disparaging and shaming a victim who literally had done nothing wrong whatsoever except for live her life, take care of her kids, go to work, pay her bills, do what she thought was required and expected of her in every other way as well. So, no, I don't appreciate or respect him, but it does suck that you have, you know, a 6 to 8 week trial, well, more about an 8 week trial in this case, at least. And he is doing it all alone. So that's difficult, very difficult in a trial like this with so many different moving parts. I do think it's going well, though. I think that the defense is losing steam. I think they're getting concerned, as they should have been from the get. Now, here's been my glitch the whole time. Is Chad Daybell, mid-trial, going to do something? Going to change his mind? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to, because at this point, I think that he would be advised not to, on the premise that it will take him a long time to ever be put to death if he does receive the death penalty. There will be many appeals. There's going to be a lot. If he were to plead guilty to try to, you know, sidestep having to deal with the death penalty, he's better off at this point taking his chance and seeing it through, taking the chance on the jury and seeing if for some reason, and I'm sure in Chad Daybell's mind, he thinks, you know, he should absolutely be dismissed of these charges or acquitted, or there should be a mistrial, bare minimum. I'm sure he thinks that, but he's absolutely wrong. So luckily, he's not incredibly grounded in reality, if no one has gotten that yet from Chad Daybell. So I think they're going to see it through. I think that this is going to the end, and I really think that they have plenty of reasons to be concerned. People were wondering what the difference of evidence was going to be for the Chad Daybell trial versus the Lori Vallow trial. How were they going to be able to tie Chad to various things? Well, you know what? I think they have the ability to tie him maybe to more than Lori, in respect to the children and Tammy. Okay. So I'm going to jump off of that really quick. But be on the lookout. We're going to have some special episodes coming soon. We're also going to cover another case that's been already covered a lot, but I feel like I have some personal personal knowledge that I can add to it that hopefully hopefully can help everyone involved in the case, and outsiders understand a little better of the entire situation. I'm not going to get into what it is right now, but be on the lookout for that. So we also have one more thing I'm going to cover while we're doing this tonight. I was going to do some crime news articles, but I think I'm going to hold off on that since we're just kind of testing things out tonight. I am going to wait and hopefully we'll do another stream tomorrow. We're not going to lock ourselves into a time and all that until next week. We'll see how this week goes. Okay. So the other thing, oh, hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so Stephan Stearns, the ick monster. Um, let's go over here and share this with everyone. This is the response from the state. I'm not going to go into a lot here, but a lot of people know Madeline Soto was reported missing and is associated with this case is basically going to be the trial of her death. Typically, I would not mention a victim in relation to the suspect, a minor victim, quite this way. I don't think that I'm going to use her name a lot in connection to our reporting on this case. We'll talk about her in other ways, and we're going to try to keep this just kind of honed in on Stephan Stearns. But a lot of people already know Madeline Soto was reported missing after she allegedly did not return from school, and her parents, or her mother, ended up, well, her mother didn't, but she was reported missing when her mother could not find her. Stephan Stearns has been accused of her murder after she was found in a rural area. And as you'll be able to see, they have done a lot of work in this filing that kind of shows what will be introduced at trial. So this is the state's response to the defense requesting discovery. We have this over on Patreon, so I'm just going to mention a few things really quick for now. Over on Patreon, you can find this whole full document with just a few redactions. It looks like, there was a Discord account, which is not cool, but there was a Discord account, a Google account that they did a search warrant for. You're going to see a lot of other accounts that they did search warrants for, phone numbers. They have a lot of just the routine stuff listed here, the different people from the police department that worked on this case, the application for mobile tracking, all of these different things. So they got mobile tracking off of the Honda Civic, the Lincoln, the Nissan. They also got a search warrant for the addresses that are associated with her mother and Stephan Stearns. They have, of course, a list of their evidence, the property. Some people have been talking about down here, evidence is to be viewed by appointment only at the office of the state attorney as it contains CSAM. Just for anybody who isn't understanding that, if there is content like that of minors, they will not allow you to just, your attorney doesn't get that with the regular discovery. They have to come in and actually view that in the presence of law enforcement, and then they do not get to take that with them. So there was also listed in here lots of search warrants, tons of search warrants. For people who are wondering about the time frame, yeah, it took a lot of time for some of this to come back. Things are getting a lot faster though, with search digital information, digital data search warrants are getting a lot faster than they used to be. At one time, it was like 8-9 months sometimes, and now it's getting quite a bit quicker depending on what you're requesting. So down here they have the affidavits for search warrants, all the various search warrants. They're gonna have they list every single one here, and this does not have a few things yet that I was hoping for, but we'll get those things closer to trial. There was another thing in here that I wanted to point out, and I'm just looking for it right now. These are all the detectives that could possibly testify as to what they did, what their role was in investigating the case. They also did they have tire tread and crime scene photos reported here, so they will be showing the jury that his tires match up to the tires that were at the scene. These are all good things to do. Not every law enforcement department is completely responsible with what they need to do to uphold or to maintain a professional crime scene analysis and processing. But they appear to be doing a good job here, and they have a lot of information here, a lot of search warrants, a lot of individuals who worked on this case. I know a lot of people were not happy that it took so long, but honestly, what do you want? I mean, this was a big endeavor. When you catch somebody and they have this much damning information against them from just one incident, you want to make sure what else is there. You want to make sure who else they might be connected to. There's a lot that goes into this. They do have digital data, like I said, that is at the police department to be viewed by appointment only for his defense. That contains all the other stuff. Based on certain things that are mentioned in this discovery list, I am going to imagine that he was sharing that content. That's already been assumed based off of other things we've found. And so it's very important to know who all he was connected to, what all he might have been doing. Of course, they also got a search warrant for Madeline Soto's Instagram account. And then there was his Discord account. And yeah, there's a lot of search warrants in here, as there should have been, considering the type of materials they found on his phone before they even found Madeline Soto. I am going to have to go and get this dog to calm down. So I'm going to end this for now, but we will be back during daytime hours, and hopefully we will have everything dialed in and ready to go. So I appreciate the people who kind of join us along this journey and get back to reporting, get back to just trying to get some of the information out there on cases that are just not talked about enough. All right, have a good